Have you ever heard about this particular food in Korea? Or what about this story? Join us in our journey as we uncover where these interesting gourmets come from around the world with our one and only Chef Matt for 맛대 맛. 안녕하세요.
안녕하세요.
반갑습니다.
반갑습니다.
How are you feeling? Fall is here. I actually feel like winter is just around the corner.
Isn't like we had a great summer.
We did.
And this fall, however, was so short.
It was.
갑자기 너무 추워졌죠.
추워졌어요. 진짜 겨울이 오는 것 같아요. I mean, I know it is, but more than fall, it's just I'm ready to bring out my puffer padded jacket.
제가 어제 경량 패딩 입었어요. Yeah, I wore a light puffer yesterday.
Yeah.
To be fair, to be honest, I was also wearing 4-inch running shorts. So
Okay.
that's why I had to wear.
That's the style.
Yeah, that's why I had to wear something warmer on top.
Yeah, but I'm sure lots of people are changing their wardrobe, changing their bedding as well. And of course, your food taste starts to change.
That's right. Some things that you might have found disgusting, you might find delicious, and some things that you used to love, you might not be able to stand anymore.
That is true.
But there are also foods that are very difficult to fall in love with at first glance.
Many.
So I didn't know what to call today's topic. I called it ugly food in the script, but that might be doing it a disservice.
못난이 food인가요?
Yeah,
못난이
it's
음식.
scary food, just intimidating food. All these foods, when you look at it at first, you think, is this even food?
Right. Is this edible? 진짜 먹을 수 있는 음식인가?
Right. 그래서 quiz question 대신에 I want to hear from our listeners. And our question for you today is I want to ask what you think. So, what weird-looking food do you like?
Do you like? 좋습니다. 오늘의 quiz question 대신 질문을 한다 던져보겠습니다. 우리 지니님들은 좋아하는 혹은 평소에 즐겨 먹는 이상한 음식이 있으시다면 알려주시길 바랍니다. 샵 1013으로 보내주시면 감사하겠습니다. The weird foods that you like. I gotta think about this one. Because I know that there are like the easy ones that, cilantro.
Right.
It's not really ugly, so to say, but it's the 호불호 that
That's
we talked
호불호. I
about.
think today that we're talking about visuals.
Okay.
Mostly visuals. Maybe smells as well, because I think there are some foods that broadcast their presence even before you see them.
That's true.
But I think we're mostly talking about visuals today.
Okay.
And we have a lot of them here in Korea.
Yes, we do. I mean, fruits in general, too. Like, for instance, chamé. With the seeds?
Oh yeah, we actually have a whole section on chamé in the next upcoming segment.
I hope so. I mean, 참외 같은 경우는 저는 너무 좋아하거든요. It's the yellow melons here in Korea. But then if you eat it with the seeds, 이것도 약간 호불호이잖아요. Some people have it with the seeds, without. Which one are you? I'm without. But then some people eat it so deliciously with the seed that I try every now and then, and I'm like, you know what? I can't.
It's almost a cruel joke because the seeds are the sweetest part
I
of
know,
it. So it's almost a cruel joke.
It really is. All right, well, give us your answers to the question. 좋아하는 혹은 평소에 즐겨 먹는 이상한 못생긴 음식이 있다면 바로바로 샵 1013으로 알려주시길 바랍니다. All right, well, let's get to one of the weird-looking but delicious foods in Korea.
I think the first one that came to mind for this one was 닭발.
오, 그렇죠.
Because it looks exactly like
What
it
it
says.
is.
It is the bal of a duck. It is a chicken foot, and you can have them boneless or bone-in. And they both look kind of weird. I think when they're boneless, it looks just like a flap of skin.
Yeah.
But bone-in is definitely the more intimidating of the
weirder.
two. Have you ever prepared 닭발 before?
I've never eaten 닭발 before.
Oh.
Still 12 years in Korea, that's one thing that I could not put in my mouth.
Start with the boneless one because it is just pretty much chicken skin.
Okay.
Yeah, the texture is pretty similar to, like the chicken skin that you'd find in like baeksuk. So it's not like the crispy, like
Right.
it's more of like the kind of like gelatinous, almost like the skin that
I
you'd
can
find
imagine it.
on like 족발, for example, but more tender.
Which is another thing. I mean, 족발 is one of its own. But I imagine because I've had, what do you call those? 또 닭똥침 같은 거?
Yes, the 모래주머니.
Yes. I mean, all of those things, it's really not it doesn't like taste profound, but it's just the yangnyeom.
Sure.
It's just the marinade or the flavor or the juice or the sauce that it comes in that you're really enjoying.
Well, there's
to
the
me.
sauce, but there's also the texture.
Oh, that's true.
Right. So I think with 닭발, you can cook it so it's a little bit crispy, but really it's that kind of like almost gelatinousy, sticky.
Right.
And I think there is also a lot of people that just like eating it off the bone.
Uh-huh.
You know, no matter what
It's
it is.
fun.
닭날개 or
Yes.
like, 그
Love
소꼬리.
wings.
You know, people just like eating food off of the bone.
Yeah.
One thing that is very disturbing is that if you ever have to prepare these, they come with the 손톱 on.
Oh,
So
do
there are
they?
some kitchens out there, yeah, that if you buy them with the claw on, they're cheaper.
Oh, sure.
And so some kitchens literally have 손톱깎이 in them.
Oh my god.
Not the one, not like a 닭발 place, not one that goes through like a ton of them because no one's sitting there like a
Right.
manicurist clipping
Right.
each one. But if you're in a kitchen that is only getting a few in, you might be clipping the toenails off individually or using a knife to take off the tips.
I can't. I'm pretty weak at that kind of stuff, and I am disappointed in myself. But 약간 이쁜 것만 먹고 싶은 그런 마음이 있어요. You know what I mean? Because it's the first thing that it's the first impression. It's the sight of it.
Sure. So I think maybe if you want to try of the two, the 모래주머니 first, have it as a 튀김. Because one thing that's great is that it's got a really great texture. It's very lean. And so it has like a snap to it, almost like a good quality hot dog.
Okay.
It's got a nice snappiness to it. And like you said, it takes on that yangnyeom very,
Okay.
very well.
Well, there you go. 닭발. Got some chicken feet in there. It looks exactly what it sounds like.
And then we also eat, and I think we also harvest the most seaweed in the world
Oh,
as
do we?
well.
Yeah. Seaweed is an interesting one. To me, it's like nothing. And to you, I bet it's nothing as well.
But to some people, it's inconceivable that
Yeah.
you would eat these sorts of things.
Right. And because there are so many different variations as well. 김도, 미역도 like 다 비슷비슷하지만 그러니까 준비하는 과정도 다르고 질감이 다 다르고. I mean, there's just so many different ways to prepare and eat seaweed. And so if you have it roasted, that's the way I love it. But some people have like, do you have it with salt or without salt?
Right. So I think like in kim form, it's the least intimidating.
Right.
Because it's dry, it's just a sheet. But once it's like in like miyak, it kind of floats around.
Yes.
And I think that the way it moves can be a little scary to some. But I think the one that even to some Koreans is a little too much is 매생이.
I don't like 매생이. It's a little too 바다 냄새 to me.
What about the way it looks? Because the way that my wife loves 매생이,
Okay.
but sometimes we'll be at a beach or at the swimming pool, and she'll point out a guy with a lot of chest hair,
And
be
it'll
like,
매생이. Yeah, it's true. 가슴털이 있는 거를 보면 아니면 그냥 본인 머리카락을 보면 그런 느낌이 나잖아요. And then you think, 오, 밥 말아 먹으면 너무 맛있겠다 하면은 it's like a weird thought to have. But I don't know. To me, it does because I grew up with it. So the sight of it is not so strange as the taste is. It's a bit too seaweedy.
yeah, it does. It, like not even seaweed. It almost smells like the way that the beach smells.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's just
smells like
beach.
the tide.
Yeah.
And so a lot of people, they'll also pair it with other seafoods as well. You have like 매생이 and 굴. And you also have 매생이 and 전복, which leads us to our next kind of strange looking food, and that's 전복죽.
Yeah, you know, here's a thing that I'm not sure if I should say, but there's a lot of things that I've just stumbled upon. People say that abalone, along with many other things, look like, certain body parts.
Sure.
And I'm like, I didn't know that. And now you kind of just ruined it for me. But it's true. If you actually look at it, if certain foods look like organs or things like that, that'll really like 밥맛 떨어지게 할 수도 있잖아요.
That is literally the reason why oysters are considered to be an aphrodisiac.
Oh.
They kind of try to create like a reverse engineer a reason for it. Oh, it has zinc in it. It
Okay.
has these 영양가.
Yeah.
But honestly, it's the symbolism behind it.
If it looks like it, must be good for it.
That's right. And So 전복죽, I think it's unusual if you're not Korean to come across a green rice dish.
Yes, so good. I had it for breakfast. I went to the market and bought like one of those meal kit things or just ready to microwave 4-pack for $12. Bought it and have been having it for every breakfast. I love it. 아침 식사로 너무
It's so
좋아요.
good. And you know what I've noticed too is that people from California really, really love 전복죽 because
What?
because 전복 is pretty hard to come by in the United States in general. It's really found in California, but in California, even then, it's much more expensive than it is here in
아,
Korea.
그래요?
So I've noticed that a lot of Koreans who grew up in California, because it's available, but it's also so expensive.
Yeah.
You know, they kind of go crazy when they come to Korea and they see how cheap 전복 is.
Is 전복 that cheap? I get
Comparatively.
I
Oh,
guess.
no. In the U.S. and a lot of the rest of the world, 전복 is a straight-up luxury item.
Is it? Then you go down to Jeju. Oh my goodness. The 해녀s will 바로 차려 some 전복죽 for you early in the morning. It's the best thing that you can have. But I can understand that the look of it can be a bit daunting as well. 전복도 조금 이상하게 생길 수도 있겠죠.
The next two are also seafoods, and these are ones that, again, even professional seafood lovers have a hard time with.
Okay.
How do you feel about 멍게?
멍게 is okay.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, but I also had it in Jeju as well as other places, but the strongest that I had was in Jeju, but it was the 해녀s that prepared it. But I don't know if they were supposed to wash it in some 맹물 because it was so salty.
Right, yeah, no, but like that's what you eat it for. You eat it for that salty
그래요?
iodine flavor.
Oh, so I thought like, yeah, it's because I want to 찍어 in 초고추장. 근데 초고추장에 찍어 먹으면 더 짜요.
Sure.
But I want to have that taste as well. So it was just, oh my gosh, I don't know if I should say anything or would I be rude or would I just be considered ignorant? Like, 원래 이렇게 짜요. You know? But yeah, not too bad. What are those called? I'm going to call them sconches.
Conches, yeah, 소라. It's not the kind of conches that you find in like the Caribbean, you know, like the ones that you can blow into and make the horn sound. But 소라 is part of the conch family.
Okay.
Sea pineapple or 멍게 is actually technically more of an anemone.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's like one of those kind of
look it
sea
up.
flowers.
Get so confused with the names.
It's not technically a shellfish.
Oh, is it not?
No, it's not technically a shellfish. It's more related to like a sponge or an anemone. Yeah, it just sits there and just kind of filters.
Oh, yes. One of these. Yeah, it kind of looks like a fig, like a blossomed flag.
Yeah, you know, blossom from Mars.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not too big of a fan of these, but another one would be uni as well.
성게. Yeah,
that's 성게. Okay.
Yeah, that one I think is a little bit more global. 멍게 is pretty much only eaten as a country. Korea is the only country that eats it like as a larger culture. There are regional areas of Japan and China that have it, but as like a national dish, Korea is, I think, at least when I was looking, no other country admitted to eating 멍게. So they could all be secret 멍게 lovers.
We're hiding it. Well, in any case, 여러분들은 좋아하는 혹은 평소에 즐겨 먹는 이상한 음식이 있다면 바로 알려주시길 바랍니다. That's right. What weird-looking foods do you like? 샵 1013으로 문자 보내주시길 바랍니다. We'll leave you guys with a quick song, TLC, Unpretty. What weird foods do you love? 좋아하는 혹은 평소에 즐겨 먹는 이상한 음식이 있다면 알려주시길 바랍니다. Getting in a message. 2258님. 외국 친구들이 한국에서 산낙지 먹는 거 보고 기겁을 하더라고요. 전 낙지 탕탕이 너무 좋아하는데 흐흐라고 보내주시는데 That's right, live octopus. This is also something that you eat just for the texture and the sesame oil.
Yep, the 참기름. It's a vehicle for 참기름. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. You know, I think escargot in France is an excuse to eat garlic butter.
Oh,
yeah, and
okay.
it's basically there's a little chewiness, but you most of it comes from the seasoning. And I think same thing for 산낙지. It's got like a texture that nothing else has. No other food sticks to your tongue.
Yep. I love it.
Bangtigi, I guess, technically sticks
I
to your
love
tongue.
bangtigi as
Yeah,
well.
yeah.
But I can only eat the legs. I mean, even with regular nakji as well, the legs are the best part for me.
They are, yeah.
I can't do the head or anything like that, but 다리가 최고죠.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we have all these seafood, we have all these Korean food as well, but other places around the world, I mean, 만만치 않아요.
That's right. So we have a couple that we eat here in Korea and also around the world. You mentioned 성게 earlier before, sea urchin, which is, gone from being something that looked alien to a lot of people to being on the menus of some of the fanciest places.
Yes.
And now is pretty much mainstream.
Right.
I also have hesam, sea cucumbers. What are your thoughts on hesam?
Oh, let me look it up. I don't know how they look like.
Hesam is, they do not look pretty. They don't look anything like cucumbers.
Oh, no. I've seen these. Every time you go to the 시장 and they're all on the restaurants, they always have a few of those. And I'm like, you know what? I mean, I don't even know how they would prepare it. I don't think I've ever seen someone eat it as well. If I did, then I didn't recognize it.
They're really good.
Are they?
So one of my favorite Chinese dishes is actually named after the haejang of a famous company here in Korea. It's because it's said to be his favorite dish. Essentially, you take chopped up shrimp and you stuff a hesam in it, and then you fry it and then toss it into a sauce.
Oh.
It's really, really good. And because hesam, when you cook it, it takes on almost like a togani like texture.
Yes. I've had it raw.
Yeah, and then it's like 오도독 when
Yeah,
it's raw.
so I'm like, I don't understand. My 이빨 아파. And then 막 이빨 끼고. And 기분 나빠.
But when it's cooked, it turns really, really tender. And
Does
I really, really love it.
it? I don't think I've ever had it or seen it cooked, but maybe I'll just have to
we
go to
should
the
go
right
get some.
restaurants. Yeah. 해삼, sea cucumber,
That's
성게도
right.
있고.
And then we also have another one, which might be a little interesting, but truffles.
Oh, truffles. Come on. The best.
They're the best, but they look bizarre if you never had one before.
I've never seen like the
a
whole...
fresh one looks very, very weird. It looks more like a round piece of wood than it doesn't
Yeah.
look edible. It does not look like food.
It's true.
It's got all these little kind of like spots.
Spores,
yeah, and it looks almost like, when you cut the inside of a tree.
맞아요.
It looks kind of like there's like a grain to it.
Yeah.
And so when looking online, this actually made it to the top of a lot of people's weird food lists because it does not look like food at all. It looks more like a rock.
Yeah, like who invented it? 돌 같은 모양의 truffle. 요즘에는 인기가 많아가지고 you put it in everything, even in Korean food.
Sure.
Put it in some truffle and it's like, wow, kimchi-볶음밥 with truffle?
It's fancy.
Fancy.
And so chocolate truffles, right? Those are named after truffles. And so you take like a little piece of ganache and you roll it in cocoa powder. And it's supposed to look like a truffle that you just dug up from that ground. That cocoa powder is supposed to resemble the hook that's on the truffle as you harvest it.
But is there white truffle as well?
There are white truffles as well. So black truffles come from places like Piedmont, and then white truffles come from places like Alba in Italy. White truffles are generally a little bit more rare.
Okay.
And then there are also truffles that are found all throughout the world, but really it's only truffles from a very specific area that have that kind of like really strong 향 to them. And truffles also can't be cultivated as well.
Oh.
You can try growing them in a farm, but they have no 향 to them whatsoever.
Really?
They have not figured out how to cultivate farmed truffles.
Only natural. All right, truffles. I mean, here's a weird one that I had one time. We went to a chamchi place. Loved tuna. And then we had to eat the eyeballs in some soju.
Yeah, the tuna eyeball. Fish eyeballs in general. Did your parents make you eat the eyeballs?
No!
growing up? My parents made me eat the eyeballs. They
Why?
said
Because 영양가가 제일 많아.
영양가. 칼슘이 많아서. Honestly, now that I look back on it, I don't think they actually were feeding it to me for the 영양가. I think they were feeding me to see if I would eat it.
Yeah.
I think they were just having fun.
놀리는 거죠.
놀리는 거였죠.
피디님께서 눈물주라고 하는데 진짜요? Is that what it's really called? Oh my gosh. Yeah, you'd definitely be crying if you don't want to eat some. But in any case, I mean, heirloom vegetables are one. I was just going to say tomatoes. Actually, if you think about it, They're weird looking. I don't know if you're going to
Yeah,
talk
especially
about
the
tomatoes.
the heirloom varieties. 요새 우리 한국에서도 조금 더 그 자주 볼 수 있지만, like we have the supermarket tomatoes, which are just round and red and lovely. But then you have these heirloom tomatoes that are all lumpy and very weird looking. And heirloom pumpkins are terrifying looking.
Oh, yeah, pumpkin some sort of squash and
ornamental
those types of-
squashes can look absolutely. They look like alien
tumor.
planets.
Yeah.
Tumors. There you go.
That's true. No, I was going to say that some people really despise the inside. Like if you cut a tomato open.
Yeah, all the seeds.
Yeah, something about it is just weird to look at. Some sort of like, I don't know, paranoid trauma phobia type of thing.
Yeah, it
but-
looks like the inside of like you land or being like swallowed inside of a whale and being in the guts of something.
Something like that.
Now let's get into some individual countries and some foods that may look terrifying but are actually delicious. One that came to mind is in Kazakhstan. They have this dish called beshbarmak.
Beshbarmak.
And I believe they eat it in a couple of other Central Asian countries as well. But I know Kazakhstan is a place where they take pride in eating this dish. It's a whole sheep's head that has been braised until the meat is tender and it's falling apart. But the part that can be a little off-putting to some is that the skull is out there displayed for all to see.
But I mean, we kind of have that in Korea where we have the big, pig head as well.
Yeah, right. 돼지머리, 소머리 국밥.
Right.
But I think the thing about the sheep's head is that it's very long and sharp, and so it looks almost like a bird or dinosaur skull.
Sure.
It's not something that you don't imagine that's what a sheep's head would look like.
Especially because the sheep, you just think of it very soft and round and cuddly and things like that. But in any case, the weirdest foods around the world, we just took a glimpse of these interesting looking foods, but sometimes they could be the most delicious as well. So looks can certainly be deceiving. Once again, 좋아하는 혹은 평소에 즐겨 먹는 이상한 음식이 있으시다면 바로바로 알려주시길 바랍니다. What type of weird foods do you look like? Let us know. Stick around. There's still much more coming up in the second part of the show. Where on earth will you find these interesting cuisines, stories, and weird-looking foods? Well, we're here to tell you. Chef Matt in the studio for Matte Matt. Once again, hello. Thank you for being here. Enjoying the fall season with some great foods and beverages and fruits and all these interesting foods that come around the season as well. But we do have the topic of 제일 희한한 못생긴 이상한 음식들에 대해서 얘기하고 있는데요. 문제가 조금 왔습니다. 4946님께서는 어릴 때 갈매기살은 진짜 씨걸인 줄 알았어요. 지금은 없어서 못 먹는 것을라고 하시는데.
I still love to trick any visitor anytime I can.
Yeah.
Whenever they see it.
Yeah. I don't know why. Why do we call it 갈매기살?
I don't know. I knew the answer at one point, but I have a vague idea, but I'm not confident enough to say it on
All
air.
right, no worries. 4698 says 세계의 엽기 음식 이런 게 검색되네요. Caution라고 하시는데 미국 같은 경우에는 calf brain sandwich.
Wow.
중국이랑 태국이랑 monkey brain. Philippines balut, of course.
Yep.
괌 과일 박쥐 수프가 있다고 합니다.
Fruit bat soup. Interesting. Is it fruit bat or fruit and bat?
I don't know. Japan has frog sashimi as well. I mean, you just never know what you'd go and eat. But I remember looking up some stuff. 그러니까 미국도 굉장히 큰 나라이기 때문에 주마다 다 느낌도 다르잖아요.
Sure.
And so if you go like to the I don't know, Midwest or wherever it is, they have a lot of roadkill in certain areas. 그래서 이제 차로 죽은 그런 뭐 deer, 사슴도 있고 막 여러 가지가 있으니까 그런 축제를 따로 만들었대요.
Right.
Roadkill Festival이라고 해서 그럴 때 다들 나와가지고 if it's like moose, then there's like moose jerky 막 여러 개를 만들어서 축제까지를 하는데 but I heard like certain places up north moose there's so many moose that it's like a nuisance to the neighbors and the residents there. So 제발 헌팅 하라고 하는 그런 광고까지도 한대요.
I don't think people realize just how big a moose is.
Yeah.
You could, hypothetically, if you have a small-ish car, drive under a moose.
Yeah.
That's how large they
Isn't
are.
that scary? 여러 가지 영상 같은 거를 보면은 people say like, you know, you don't want to be near even two mooses fighting because you don't know how, where they're going to run towards, kick you or whatever. 진짜 죽을 수도 있으니까.
제가 어렸을 때 I lived in 그 뉴욕 시골 쪽. And for me, I hear people say, "Oh, look at the deer. 사슴이 너무 아름다워요." No.
No.
To me growing up, deer are giant rats.
아, 그래요?
딱 쥐처럼 they wreak the same havoc. They carry diseases. They root through the trash. They jump in front of your car.
Right.
We had deer that would chew on the trees, and one time we were stuck in our house because a deer had chewed a tree down, and it knocked over into the road, and we couldn't get out of our house for like 3 days.
What a nuisance indeed. For us, I mean, the deer in Malibu on the beach, they're very peaceful looking. But in any case, all these different animals are very different in each neighborhood, in each country, and of course, the foods would be different as well. So let's get to our second part. What's our topic this time?
So we're going to keep going with strange foods. I want to talk about real quick a couple of foods that, the opposite, that look great, but maybe aren't tasty. And I want to bring this one up because it's been in the news a bit. 탕후루.
탕후루!
탕후루, I think, is like the quintessential food that looks great, but is definitely disappointing.
My friend loves it, and she was like, you got to try it. And I'm like, I don't really understand it. I just rather have fresh fruit.
See, the thing is that I don't want to do the not death sort of thing, but like growing up, like 탕후루 was just around, like it wasn't like a thing, it wasn't anything special. It's after like ASMR and 먹방 became a thing.
Right,
Yeah,
그러네요. 근데 진짜 너무 달고.
너무 달아요. And it hurts my mouth.
It does. And I don't even taste the fruit.
Okay, yeah, we are old.
Maybe.
Yeah, dragon fruit is another one I feel like
맞아요,
is always a
진짜.
downer. Meringue. 홍어 is one that it looks like regular 회, but I think is one that definitely looks better than it tastes.
Deceiving.
Pure chocolate or like 90% cacao chocolate.
I've had 99% and it's like 한약.
Yeah,
So
it
bitter.
absolutely is. It just sucks all the moisture out of your mouth.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
can't even it won't even melt. It's weird.
Fondant, and I think is the one that a lot of people hate. It's what they use on cakes to kind of make them into like really impressive sculptures. It's basically just it's sugar that's basically mixed with different starches, and it's technically edible, but only technically.
That's what I feel when I'm eating like a meringue. Like that's what I
Meringues, I like
understand
pavlova as a dessert. And I don't like the way it sounds when it crunch into them.
I like the sound though.
Oh, see, for me, it feels like it's scratching my teeth.
It's true. It's like chalky.
Yeah, it's chalky.
It's
Ooh.
very true. All right. I'm sure lots of us have different opinions and ideas, even about 탕후루 as well. So keep sending your messages. 샵 1014로 문자 보내주시길 바랍니다. All right. Moving on. I see you have a very interesting keyword here. Insects.
Yes, insects. So we're going to talk. So I think that might be the ultimate food that is scary looking. 이상한 음식. So let me ask you, listeners, would you ever eat insects? Why or why not?
미래 식량으로 조명받고 있는 식용 곤충. 그렇죠? 여러분은 곤충을 드실 의향이 있으신지 궁금한데요. 여러분의 대답과 그 이유를 알려주시길 바랍니다. I think if it was 진짜 말세, the end of the world, and we had nothing and it was purely on survival, sure, why not? But it would be very difficult.
Like, say we're in a dystopian future and on a train, for example.
Yep. And I just had to have it to survive, then sure, why not? But I don't even think I could eat it. I think I could die. I would just die.
I'm hesitant to put this out there because I don't want to ruin this for so many people. But do yourself a favor and never watch any videos of a shrimp farm.
Oh.
Because that is kind of the closest we are currently at in terms of farmed insects.
I was going to say, since 족발 came out, actually the 젓갈 that comes with the 족발 is even weirder.
Kind of, right?
they're
새우젓
tiny.
is tiny, and at that point, what is really the difference? I've tried like a 귀뚜라미, was it grasshopper? Cricket?
Oh yes,
Cricket?
yes, cricket.
And it tastes like what you imagine a land shrimp to taste like.
Really?
It tastes like 새우 minus the seafood
sea.
part
Okay.
of it. It
Interesting.
was very, very odd.
Yeah. Okay, I can imagine that. But I mean, people, if you start like preparing shrimp yourself, they say to devein it, and then you see what actually you're eating. If you have like a, seafood buffet, and it's like, oh, is that really their insides and their poo and all that kind of stuff?
If you start thinking about this, why not insects? They might be the food of the future. But when it comes to insects, it triggers this response in a lot of people. Are you familiar with the term 환공포증?
황고포증.
Otherwise known as trypophobia.
Yeah, is that the spiders thing?
It's not spiders. It's that fear that you get of the when you see a lot of little holes.
Oh,
and
that's
things.
me. Oh gosh.
참외 is really big for
Yes,
this one.
that's why I said 참외.
There are
And tomatoes. Anything with
tomatoes.
seeds, really.
Yeah, anything with seeds, anything with a lot of tiny little holes in it. Honeycomb,
Oh,
벌꿀집
right.
is one that I think triggers a lot of people.
Yes. That one, not so much for me. Maybe because it's already a hole. Or maybe because, I don't know, maybe that one doesn't really do it for me. But
I think different ones, I think, trigger different people.
Yeah.
I think like 연꽃. Have you ever seen?
Oh,
like,
yes.
Yeah, the 연꽃
The
pods,
lotus,
lotus
yes,
pods.
yes.
Yeah. Those are terrifying.
Yeah.
To me. Because it looks like something like a disease or
it does.
Yeah.
And I think especially because when I was little, I had like severe pink eye. And so I had like little scabs on my eye. And that did it for me ever since then.
It's like the kind of crusty little edges
yeah.
of it too.
And so 근데 참외는 너무 맛있긴 한데 씨앗까지는 먹는 거는 조금 아닌 것 같아요.
What about chia seeds and basil seeds?
Chia seed, when it's in like liquid, like chia seed drink, I can't do that. Or basil seed drink.
It
I
looks
can't do
like
eyeballs.
개구리알. Yeah, or eyeballs.
사람들이 왜 그렇게 드시는지는 잘 모르겠지만 like in yogurt and all that kind of stuff, I can't do it. It's weird.
Are you afraid? Like this one is, I think, a little uncommon, but I know a couple of people who don't eat 옥수수.
I love corn.
Have you taken a close look at the cob, though?
Okay.
Yeah.
But I feel satisfied. Maybe because I'm the one that's eating it.
That's true, yeah. And also, you're done eating it by
yeah,
that point.
right. But 옥수수 for me, I mean the Korean 찰 옥수수 and then the U.S., corn on the cob, all types of corn I love. So that for me, trypophobia kind of ends there. Like honeycomb and 옥수수 I can handle. But if
Passion
they're
fruit,
smaller,
are you okay with that?
Passion fruit, I'm okay. Maybe because I don't run into it that much.
That is true. It is a little bit more of an uncommon one. And I think also the seeds are larger.
And
they're
they're spread
significantly
apart.
larger. And they're spread apart.
Yeah.
And also, I think, chia seeds and basil seeds, they have a little shikam. Passion fruit is just delicious. Yeah, I think it's like corn. It's
Right,
corn.
yeah.
Like I think the flavor overrides any fear
Right,
that you might
right.
have.
There you go. You have one here that's interesting. Crumpets and English muffins?
Have you ever taken a close look at an English muffin?
I guess so. But I love English
Yeah, I
muffins.
do too. But I'll pull a photo up right now. They can look pretty, disturbing.
I guess so.
So, if you're not familiar with a crumpet or an English muffin, they are known for having lots of little holes. In fact, there's a brand of English muffins in the United States, and their whole marketing is centered around the fact that they have all these little holes in them.
But that's like with every bread. 빵 모든 종류가 살짝씩 이 구멍들이 뽕뽕뽕
But
뚫고 있잖아요.
they are a little bit different when it comes to
Oh
crumpets.
no,
Yep.
I can't. Oh, that's gross.
So,
I
yeah.
can't do that one.
I think the way that they come out, it looks a little bit more like almost like lava rock, or
Yes,
the holes are very big, and I
Yeah.
think they're kind of swollen at the edges of it as well, which makes it look a little bit more like diseased flesh.
Yeah. Oh, that one really did it for me.
Yeah.
But,
and it does it for a lot of people.
Yeah,
Apparently.
usually though, if you just cut it really roughly with a serrated knife, it doesn't look that clean. Oh my goodness.
Oh, if you did that, they might kick you out of the UK. You're always supposed to break them apart with a fork.
Oh.
If you cut them with a knife, then you're kind of flattening out all the nooks and crannies. Use a fork, kind of poke holes all
That's
around it
right.
and pull it apart.
There you go.
That's how you sal려 those holes as much as possible.
Well, in any case, are there any foods that trigger phobias for you? 여러 가지가 있네요. But in any case, continuing with our topic of insects, 미래 식량으로 조명받고 있는 식용 곤충. 여러분은 곤충을 드실 의향이 있으신지 궁금한데요. 샵 1013으로 문자 보내주시길 바랍니다.
That's right. People are saying it may be the food of the future, but would you ever eat insects? Why or why not?
Let us know. Send us in your messages. In the meantime, here is Chungha. Quick song break. Excuse me. Switcheroo. Here's 윤종신. 내 사랑 못나니. 미래 식량으로 주문받고 있는 식용 곤충. 여러분 드실 의향이 있는지 궁금한데요. 여러분과 대답 이유로 알려주시길 바랍니다.
That's right. Today's episode is all about weird, off-putting foods, and some people call insects the food of the future. But would you eat insects? Why or why not?
I think maybe if I didn't know and it was covered with sauce and it didn't have the shell. I don't like the outside. Some people eat even the shell of the shrimp, and I'm not a fan.
새우껍질?
Yeah.
I do. I don't enjoy it, but I also enjoy peeling shrimp less. So 귀찮아서.
귀찮으니까.
No, I think the shell is a big one. Would you ever do one of those bug eating challenges? 가끔 그런 뭐 유튜브나 아니면 sometimes you see them in reality shows.
Yeah. So like $1억 줄 테니까.
Well, I mean, I think I'd eat a lot more than an insect for that much.
Really?
Money, yeah.
Like just that's it. Like for $1,000, would you have a cockroach?
Yeah, for $1,000 I would do that.
Really?
Yeah,
I don't know
yeah.
if I could.
Yeah.
A 바퀴벌레?
Okay, as long as it was sterilized.
Yeah, like it's clean to
if
eat.
my medical bills are going to outweigh the amount of money, then I
Yeah.
wouldn't do it. But if it was like a sterilized pakibare, I would do it.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to ooze out. Like you've killed one before. Like you know what comes out of
Oh,
it.
yeah.
And so I don't want that going in my mouth. Alone, I can't. But I mean, people have been talking about, as you said, the future of protein.
Right, and the reason why is because we're starting to slowly realize that current livestock that we're raising for food is one of the largest producers of carbon emissions. Insects require less heat to maintain their body temperature, and they only need 1.7 kilograms of feed to produce 1 kilogram of protein, which is much more cost efficient compared to other foods. And part of the thing that's propelling this rapid growth is that low environmental impact. Bug farming only produces 1/7 of the greenhouse gases of cattle, pig, and chicken farms.
Okay, so if they had like bug sausage, then maybe.
Yeah, like bug
Processed
sausage,
patty.
like bug loaf, bug tubu.
That just does not sound pleasing at all. Imagine having that in your kimchi-jjigae.
Insect cheese.
Yeah, that's the worst. That's the worst. But in any case, if it is part of the future, then maybe it's something that we do need to accept in the long run. If things like cows and chickens, and you've seen those videos with big factories and things like that, just so mistreated. And so you just wonder what you're actually eating.
Sometimes, maybe I kind of do like the idea of like maybe relying on something that doesn't have sentience as a form of protein.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, is that a debate then? I mean, like what makes bugs not a sentient being just because they're smaller?
I think the lack of an identifiable face is part of it.
Yeah,
part of it. But I mean, it's to the point where we're even starting to see it here in Korea in terms of using large-scale insects and technology to perhaps create the future of food.
Oh my gosh. PD님 just pulled up an article. 후쿠오카 식용 곤충으로 만든 컵라면 판매하고 있는데 사진이
wow.
I mean, look at that. 젓가락으로 드는. That's a big bug.
That is.
That's the size of my 검지, my 엄지. I can't. Well, in any case, on that note, I guess we'll have to end the show. 마무리할 시간이 왔는데요. Don't know if you would want to eat insects, but perhaps we're lucky enough not to have that question being so impending.
Well, I guess seeing as how we got no responses, I think everyone just tuned out at this point.
Just no.
We've lost all of our listeners.
No, sir. Well, in any case, 덕분에 너무 즐거운 시간을 보냈습니다. We'll have to see you again next week.
See you then.
We'll leave you guys with our last song. Here's Charlie Puth. I don't think that I like her. 여러분, 내일 봬요.